Welcome to those of you who are watching this video on demand. Welcome to those of you who are watching this video on demand. Now, since there's nobody here, I'll do what I typically like to do when I'm bored. I'll entertain myself with a song. All right. Y'all, some of y'all that have watched my channel for a while, you probably have seen me play around with this number, this jingle, but it is I feel like singing it. All right. It is and this is weird talking to yourself on a live when nobody's there, but you know what? I want you guys to see what some of us content creators do while we're waiting for people to enter the live stream room. By the way, I know I said in the community post today that this would be at 7:30, but life happens. All right. I just think it's ironic that I said, join me for the live stream where we talk about the film series, The Lord of the Rings, and how it might relate to the world that we live in today, with particular interest in the Middle East. Join me at 7:30. Don't be late. And I started the stream at 8:08. But it is all good. Somebody might I got a comment here on one of my earlier videos. Um somebody might somebody might find that funny. Anyway, so what is this number I'm going to sing here while I'm waiting for the room to waiting for people into the room? If nobody enters the room by the time I'm done with this little Dukes of Hazards. For some reason, that song jumped into my head today. The Dukes of Hazards. Okay, so I don't know why that opening theme song from the Dukes of Hazards. Maybe I'll do that one. Maybe I'll do the one from Smoking the Bandit. I don't know. I just feel like singing. So, just the good old boys. Y'all notice I'm starting this an octave lower because it's like 8 something at night, and I don't want to sound terrible by going up into my upper register. So I'll sing it an octave lower than the original. But here we go. Just the good old boys, never meaning no harm. Dun, 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 dun. Beats all you ever saw. Been in trouble with the law since the day they were born. Maybe I could hit those notes easier waking up first thing in the morning, where my voice is a lot deeper. Scraping the dirt. Mm-mm. Slapping the gills. Oh man, y'all, this is late, y'all. Someday the mountain might get them, but the law never will. I hope y'all are enjoying this opening couple of minutes, those of y'all that are watching this on demand, all right? Because I'm like really, really, really trying to keep this channel open for another few minutes before I get into the subject matter. But I'm going to get into it, live stream participants or not, okay? Making the way, the only way they know how. That's just a little bit more than the law would allow. And just the good old boys. Nah, I ain't ready. I ain't ready. Wouldn't change if they could. Dun, 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 dun. Fighting the system like a true modern day Robin Hood. All right, y'all. One more. All right, here we go. Boom, ba-dum, dum, eastbound and down, loaded up and trucking. There's one person. We're gonna do what they say can be done. We've got a long way to go and a short time to get there. I'm eastbound and watch that bandit run. All right, y'all. Here we go. I'm gonna go ahead and get started. What are we talking about tonight? We are talking about the Lord of the Rings movie trilogy and the links between the world that we live in today, with particular interest in the Middle East. Okay. Now, let me begin by telling you welcome to whoever that is joined the live stream. Thank you for being here. Let me begin by telling you guys, those that are in the live stream and those that are watching this on demand, let me begin by telling you why or what it was that was the impetus behind my doing this particular or drawing this particular parallel. So I saw, hey lady, how you doing? How you doing? Can't really watch all right now. I understand. I completely understand. But thank you for being here. Thank you for being here. So with everything that's going on in the Middle East right now, I had an epiphany one day. I don't know what exactly it was that I was doing. I don't know if I was watching YouTube. Watching YouTube, y'all, believe it or not, even though I'm a YouTube content creator, one of my favorite things to do when I'm not creating content or not working on a book or not reading or doing some type of online continuing education or whatever. one of my favorite things to do, believe it or not, is to watch other content creators' channels. And sometimes you hear things that inspire you, but for some particular reason, I was watching Ralph Smart, I think it was. I love Ralph Smart. Y'all check him out. His channel is Infinite Waters, and he's very inspirational. He's been out there doing it for a while. But anyway, I'm watching, and I think he said that he was out in the Mediterranean or something like that. And I had a light bulb moment. I don't know where this came from, y'all. It had to be divine inspiration because I have no idea where this came from. But when he said Mediterranean, that triggered something for me. And I was just like, Mediterranean. Medi. Let me go ahead because I don't want to hold y'all. Let me jump right to it. Medi. Medi is the same. Oh, God, you like Ralph too, right? Right. Ralph is amazing. I like Ralph. I like him a lot. Medi. Medi is short for medium, which is another way of saying middle. And it just hit me, y'all. Mediterranean Sea. So we know that terra is it's an old word. I want to say it comes from Latin, which means land. So if we're talking about Mediterranean Sea, we're talking about the land, the sea that is in the middle of terra is another word for land. It's also another word for earth. Terra. When you hear something talking about something terraforming, that means that earth is coming up out of the water and we're getting new earth. Okay. So that's another way of describing terraform. But it just like it blew my mind. I said, wait a minute. Mediterranean Sea. That is the sea that is in the middle of the earth. That is why it's called Mediterranean Sea. Why would it be called Mediterranean Sea? So to me, this was an example of how things are sometimes hidden in plain sight. You know, we just grow up, we go to school, we learn about world geography, we learn about different major bodies of water, different major land masses and such. And we know that the Mediterranean Sea is situated between the continent that we now know today as Africa, the continent that we know as Asia, and the continent that we know as Europe. So I said, wait a minute, where else have I heard middle? If Mediterranean means belonging to the middle of the earth, where else have I heard the term Middle Earth? And then it reminded me of the Lord of the Rings movie trilogy, which began back in 2001. So I was just like, oh, snap, Mediterranean Sea. So somebody, for some reason, and y'all know my thing is with every what, there's a connected why. I said somebody named that the sea that is in the middle of the earth. And it just started hitting me. It just started hitting me. And I got some, you know what, matter of fact, while I'm sitting here, I need to take this photograph and move it over to hang on a second. I need to move this photograph over because I took a picture of the television screen that I thought was pretty doggone profound. I'm going to airdrop that over to my laptop just so I have it when I'm ready to share it with you guys. Okay, I think that's going now. Okay, so let me close that. Now, because I want y'all to see this. So you got Europe on the north, Asia on the east side of the and not just Asia, because the area that we know today is modern day Israel, Palestine, even I think up to Lebanon, on down to the Egyptian curve where the Red Sea is and the Nile Delta is, the lower Nile River. All of that is a part of the African tectonic plate. So, you know, Asia goes a little bit further to the east, but as far as what's bordering the Mediterranean right there, that is actually Africa, even though people love to call it the Middle East. It sits on the African tectonic plate. Now, and I used to listen to some of the people that had a hang up with calling modern day Israel and Palestine the Middle East and wanting to say that, well, you know, this actually belongs to Africa. They don't call it Northeast Africa because then it gives it basically takes on a whole different meaning when you look at the inhabitants, the modern inhabitants of that land, that they don't look African. Okay. So anyway, I hear people, and I used to get into that a little bit, but now Mediterranean, middle of the earth. So that took me back to 2001 and the Lord of the Rings films. So that is why I gave you guys the homework earlier in the week. And I said, you guys be sure you watch The Lord of the Rings if you haven't seen it. And if you are, just kind of get refamiliarized with it. Because I went back. I own the DVD series. I got all three of the films, Fellowship of the Ring, which is part one, The Two Towers, which is part two, and The Return of the King, which is part three. And I started watching that, y'all. And it began to make sense to me why that area is. I started seeing some parallels between all of the fighting that was going on in the Lord of the Rings movies and all of the fighting being centered around Middle Earth and control of Middle Earth. And I said, you know what, this has got to be this strife that's going on there. For those of you that are Bible heads, you know that the fighting for that part of the earth has gone way back since the beginning, basically since the beginning. All right. Since the beginning. So here's what I did. I watched the movies and I took some notes that I want to talk about tonight. And I'm here to tell y'all that I'm not going to try to get all this into one video because I want to spin off a part two of this where I get a little bit more into the reason, like the real tangible reason for the fighting that has been intensified. And you know, a lot of people talk about, man, we're on the cusp of World War III. You know, we had World War II and World War I and this, that, and third. And I was going to do a video about that one year. Not 1 year, I'm sorry. I was going to do a video about that 1 month. Some months ago, I thought about doing a video on that. Thank you. I think that is interesting too, lady. I was going to do a video about that some months ago and just talk about that from my purview. This is not, and let me turn my notification. Let me turn my ringer off there. From my purview, this is not a new war. World War II, in my opinion, was a continuation of World War I. Now, in my opinion, World War I was a continuation of. Listen. I can take that all the way back to the war between Rome and Judah that began in 66 AD and ended officially in 70 AD with one last uprising put down in 73 AD. Now, some people talk about the Bar Kokhba Revolution or the Bar Kokhba Revolt in 125 AD, but that wasn't the same people. That wasn't Judah. That wasn't Judah proper in that. But anyway, I think I can do that in another video. I just wanted to just sort of set the backdrop to give my opinion on this because when I hear people talking about World War III, you said you've seen the trilogy so many times, and I can see what you mean. Oh, just wait, because I'm getting ready. I took some notes on each one of those movies, and I'm going to break those down. I'm going to get more into the reason, like the tangible reason why that land is just so hotly contested, okay? Because we know right now there's a lot of stuff going on over there. And I'm here to tell y'all, I'm not somebody that just listens to the mainstream narrative. I always look for the other narrative, because if you guys saw my video that I did on the astrology and the fact that there are, even though there are 12 astrological signs, they sit on 6 axes so that anybody that's any sign has the opposing axis as their unseen energy, because it's not prominent. So it's the less prominent energy. In that same token, I believe that there's two sides to everything. There's light and there's dark. There's positive, there's negative, there's plus, there's minus. The universe, all computer language is based on binary code, which is zeros and ones. The bit is on or it's off. Okay. In the same token, if the mainstream media is giving you a narrative that, for the most part, is matched across all of the major news outlets, then I'm like, all right, I'm hearing the same thing on 8, 9, 10 different outlets. Is there another side of the story? There has to be. There has to be another side of the story, because there's always, when you go to court, what do you have? You have a prosecution and a defense. Why? Because there are two sides of the story, and you're trying to get to the truth. Okay. And the truth typically is somewhere in the middle, unless you're dealing with a flat out liar. Then the truth sits on completely on an opposite side. But anyway, I'm here to tell you guys I've listened to 2 different narratives on what is going on over there. One of those narratives, again, I've said, you can hear it on any and all of the mainstream outlets, and you hear, oh, these people went over here and did this. And then you hear, well, they did this in retaliation because these people are doing this to these people. And I'm like, okay, we hear that everywhere else. What else is there out there? And I want to tell y'all, if y'all are not aware of it, I'm going to put it in the comments. There's a platform that is not heavily censored, if you will. like this one and some of the other mainstream social media outlets, and that is called, I just put it in the comments, BITCHUTE. Y'all want to hear some other sides of the story just to kind of figure out, if you care to know, if you try to figure out where the truth lies in that story, if it matters to you, then go and check that out. Now, the reason why I do it is because of something else, and I'm about to get into Lord of the Rings. I just want to say this one more thing. Because of something else that I said in another video recently, and that was something to the effect of, geez, it just passed me by. Maybe it'll come back. Let me get ready to get into this Lord of the Rings trilogy. Geez, it went out that fast, y'all. I don't know what it was that I had said in another video that I thought was I know what it was. Okay, it was talking about some of these pastors right now, because the day and age is late, and a lot of these pastors are still trying to hold on to the same narratives, and these churches they're going all out and putting together task forces to try to get people back in, and they're running this narrative that, oh, this is the great falling away and we've got to save these souls and whatnot, and this, that, and the third. So they're doing all of this, and I said, listen, stop it. Stop with the prosperity gospel, all of this other stuff. If you are still operating a church establishment and you are not teaching, one, prophecy, and two, identity, you are failing your congregation. There's a reason why I said that. And so some of the search for the truth with regards to what's going on in that land right now has to deal with those two things, prophecy and identity, because the prophecies that remain in the scriptures have to deal with a certain group of people, okay, and that particular land. So if identity is not being taught and prophecy is not being taught, a lot of us are going to be caught by surprise. Now, on to Lord of the Rings. Okay. In part one, I'm just going straight off my notes, and I'm going to try to make this video I don't even want it to get to an hour, because again, I think I can do a second part to this. And again, I think those of you who decided to be here with me, I really greatly appreciate you guys' participation. And I'm looking at some this is what they start doing on this platform, y'all. I'm seeing a Wi-Fi symbol coming up in the window, and I got a full signal here there it went away. I think that this is the platform's way of kind of warning you a little bit, saying, hey, you're saying some stuff we don't like. Be advised, okay? Just a little weird stuff, and you can hear some of your other favorite YouTubers talking about it too. When you're saying things that are not mainstream and they go against the popular narrative, little funny, tricky things happen. But we're gonna keep going, okay? Lord of the Rings 1. The title of that movie is Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring, okay? I'm just gonna start here. Rumors grew of a shadow in the east, okay? If you are in North America, South America, then Middle Earth, as I just described it, is to the east. That's why they call it the Middle East, okay? What is the Middle East? It is the eastern shore of the sea in Middle Earth, the Mediterranean Sea. So now, for all of those people that were like, well, why do they call it the Middle East when there's no Middle West, no Middle North, no Middle South? There you have it. Think about the term Mediterranean and how that means Middle Earth. Mediterranean literally means Middle Earth. Okay, so Mediterranean Sea is the sea in the middle of the earth. The Middle East, as we know it today, is the eastern portion of the sea that sits in the middle of the earth. Now, some people might say, some people might even take that and reference how all the continents were one time connected. Okay, all of the continents are one time connected. And I've even heard of some people saying that Africa is the only fixed, solid continent on the face of the earth that doesn't float. Since hearing that, I've heard some counter narratives. So y'all know how this thing works online now. Whatever somebody's coming up with that isn't whatever mainstream education is, the bots come. Here come the bots. Just like Sister Sophia Stewart said in the Matrix movies and her books, the Third Eye Matrix, she saw this stuff a long time ago, and it is really happening. Anytime somebody says something that goes against the mainstream, here come the sentinels, aka bots, aka fact checkers, aka all this other stuff. It's all connected, y'all. It's all connected. Start watching these movies and start looking for the message in the movies, because the writers are brilliant. They hide the story for those who have the intelligence and the cognition to be able to extract the information from the entertainment. Okay, so rumors grew of a shadow in the east. These are notes I took from the film. We know what the east is: a shadow growing in the east. Shadows typically denotes some type of wickedness or something like that. Now, okay, I'm going to skip that part. I did talk about the continents, and did all the continents shift into their current locations post Great Flood or deluge, or was it something that occurred over millions of years? I'm here to tell y'all I'm not a millions of years person. I'm not in that boat. Why? Because to me, the whole millions of years thing has more to do with the theory of evolution, and I'm not into the Darwinian theory. I'm not. I believe in creationism. I believe in intelligent design. I'm not on the Darwinian boat. So to me, you don't need millions of years of evolution if there's intelligent design involved. That's just me. To each his own. I don't knock anybody else's opinion. That's just me. But anyway, so the question is the continental shift that we have in place right now. And that was, I need to turn my thing to do not disturb. Give me just a second, y'all. Let's see, focus. So either the continent shifted then, or maybe the scripture. When you read the scripture and you read the book of Enoch, you understand how these things happen. The floodgates were opened. According to the book of Enoch, the earth was flooded from the top and the bottom. Okay, it means the now when you understand the construction of the earth in the book of Enoch, and in the book of Genesis as well, it says that there is a firmament meaning something firm that separated the waters above from the waters below. Okay, the waters above from the waters below. Now, when you look at, there's some drawings out there where you can look at the how the ancients thought that the earth was designed. In fact, I'll pull one of them up as I'm talking. But it matches really what the scripture said about let's see, ancient diagram of the earth for a moment. Let's see if I got an image here. Okay, let's go with this one. Whoops. All right, yeah, let's go with that one right there. All right, I want to share this with you guys really quick, and I'm going to jump back on it. Again, I thank you guys for being here tonight. I know you could be anywhere, but you decided to be here, and I really appreciate it. Okay, so you guys can see right here on the screen. That is the ancient way that they felt that the earth was constructed. Okay, you can see there's a firmament here, and then you got the sky below it, and you got waters above the firmament. There's the gate to heaven, and then you got the heavens above. And some people believe in the whole outer space thing, and I'm not gonna make this that type of video. I don't want this. This is, again, is a little bit of backdrop, but when you see pictures from the International Space Station, it's so funny when we see some of these photos that we see from a certain space agency, which I will not mention. When they show you photos, they show you like all of these stars all over the place once you get outside of the earth. But when you look at images from the International Space Station, you see a black sky. You don't see any stars. So that's very telling. That is very telling. It makes you wonder, okay, are these only visible from the ground? Anyway, that's a story for another day. I just wanted to mention that. But again, it mentions that when God flooded the earth, when the great flood happened, it says it rained 40 days and 40 nights. But when you read the book of Enoch, it says he broke open the floodgates from above, and he broke open the foundations of the earth that held the waters down. And so the earth flooded in this direction right here, flooded from the top and the bottom. And that was why that boat was required. Believe what you will. I'm just sharing what I've understood, what I've heard. Okay. So that being said, let me keep it moving. She said, yeah, that's a whole other deep conversation. It really is. It really is. So I'm gonna keep it going, getting back to my notes here. But if it is the way that they draw these diagrams of the earth with, where all of the continents were connected, then you could kind of understand why they would call that region Middle Earth, and why the Mediterranean Sea would technically have been the sea that sat in the middle of the earth. Now, it could also mean the sea that sat in the middle of the known earth, okay? Because if you want to go with whatever the time that ocean was named, the Mediterranean Sea, we do know that the greater history of the world occurred in the east and not in the west, or at least for what is recorded, occurred in the east and not in the west. So if that was the known earth, then that sea technically would have sat in the middle of the earth. So Mediterranean Sea. Anyway, So, energy portals. Energy portals was something else that came out in the first film. Where do we see that? Right in the beginning, you had Bilbo Baggins and Gandor were sitting there, and this is a little bit of, I don't want to say spoiler alert, because even reading these notes, most of you, if you've not seen the film, then you're going to be like, oh, aha, when you see it anyway. So I can say spoiler alert, but I'm not. I'm just going to keep on going. The energy portal imagery when Bilbo and Gandor are smoking weed. Bilbo blows a reed, and they were smoking weed, but it was like it was in a pipe. But they was out there getting high. Let's just call it what it is, all right? So Gandor is he's a great wizard. He's a big old giant wizard, and Bilbo was he was a hobbit. So the hobbits are these little tiny people that I'm 5'11". If I were standing up next to a hobbit, or if a hobbit were standing up next to me, his head would probably come no higher than my waistline or whatever. So the hobbits were like these really small people. Anyway, so they're smoking weed, and Bilbo blows a ring. He blows a ring out of his mouth. He takes a drag out of his pipe. He blows a ring. And then Gandor, he takes a drag, and then he blows a ship that sails through this ring. So I'm like, okay, boom, that's an energy portal. Interesting. Because we see some of this, we see these themes later in the film. The next bullet point I have for Lord of the Rings 1, Bilbo at the birthday celebration, he says, today is my 111th birthday. You always have to watch numerology in movies. They always show you number sequences. Anytime you see a number in a film, a Hollywood movie, when you see a number, there's some significance to it. So pay attention to numbers in these movies. There's a lot of people that look at angel numbers. They look at synchronicities. Some of them look at they'll do the numerological reduction and say, okay, 111 breaks down to 3. So what is that 3 significant of? And so on and so forth. Now we're going to talk about that as I get on. I'll show you how the number 3 plays out a little bit later. Now, Isengard is a place where Gandor's mentor lives. Gandor is a wizard. He has another wizard that was his mentor. That wizard's name was Saruman. I thought that was very interesting because it nearly carries the vibration of Solomon. She says, "Oh, I didn't catch that. Okay, I will try to watch the movies again." Yeah, Lady DJ, if you've seen these, you got to set aside time for them because each one of these movies is about 3 hours. So you got to set aside some time. But people look at the 3 hours and they sneeze at it. They're like, "Oh man, I'm not doing no 3-hour film." But they'll watch 3 back-to-back episodes of Housewives or what's that show? Selling Sunset or anything where the episodes are 1 hour. So don't think of it like I'm watching a 3-hour movie. Think of it like I'm watching 3 episodes of a show, and it'll help you to get over it easier. She says a 10-hour event. Yeah, if you're gonna watch all of them. So definitely. But so Isengard. Oh, I didn't read the books. I have to do those when I have time, but I'm so busy these days. Isengard is where Gandor's mentor lives. His mentor's name is Saruman. Saruman, again, sounds a lot like Solomon. Here's where I saw a little bit of a link between Saruman and Solomon. I've got another note here. Isengard sounds a lot like Asgard, which is a place in the Thor movies. So those of you who are up on Thor, I always look anytime I see something that's a parallel, I just take note of it. I'm like, okay, I've seen this before somewhere else. It just sticks out. And I've heard that's a Capricorn thing too. So it is what it is. But anyway, I thought that Isengard sounded a lot like Asgard. But back to Gandor. Gandor's mentor was Saruman. Saruman was a wizard as well, but we find out later that Saruman is no longer a wise and righteous wizard. He turns to the dark side, okay? And we find that out when he comes for Gandor, okay? Now, the next bullet. There are 9 rings of power that were once men, and it says kings. These men were kings, and they were given rings of power that corrupted them, and now they are slaves to Sauron's will. 9 families that ruled the earth. 9. I thought about the 9 of swords there too, for those of y'all that follow tarot. But there is a reference in scripture to 9 kings. And I'm going to pull that up real quick because this stuff is mind blowing, y'all. A lot of this stuff, I tell you, a lot of this stuff that seems like fantasy, they take a lot of the stuff from ancient texts and build, a narrative around it, but it has a central core theme. And again, when I had the epiphany about the meaning of Mediterranean, that started triggering some other things. Let me show you guys this scripture reference that talks about those 9 kings. It comes from the 14th chapter of Genesis. Pardon me, y'all. And it came to pass in the days of Amraphel, king of Shinar, that's 1. Arioch, king of Elasar, that's 2. Shedor. All right, let me slow it down. Shedor Lamomer. I'm hoping I said that right. Shedor Laomer, king of Elam, that's 3. Tidal, king of 4. King of nations, that's 4. And these made war with Bera, king of Sodom, that's 5. Birsha, king of Gomorrah, that's 6. Shinab, king of Admah, that's 7. Shemeber, king of Zeboim, that's 8. And the king of Bela, which is Zoar, that's 9. Those are 9 kings, and they were not 9 righteous kings. They were 9 wicked kings, okay? So in the movie series, those 9 spirits were the spirits of men, people who were formerly men that turned corrupt, and now they're these like ghost-like beings or whatever. But they were described as being 9 kings. I thought that was very, very, very interesting. Okay, 9 rings of power, and 1 to rule them all. So these men were given those rings of power that corrupted them, and they are slaves to Sauron's will. Now, the way they say Sauron and what that energy is in the films made me think like, okay, this has got a close vibrational, almost a vibrational match to the name of the devil. Okay, Sauron, Satan, Sauron. Okay, stay with me. Now, let's see. The next note I took, and these are just things that I thought were significant. It's still in Lord of the Rings 1, Fellowship of the Ring. There was a quote: "The trees are strong, my lord. Their roots run deep." Okay, so these are goons talking. They were given instructions by Sauron to deal with these trees. They didn't want the trees in there. Okay, the trees are strong, my lord. Their roots run deep. The dark wizard Sauron says, "Rip them all down." And so these people start following the orders of this dark wizard, and they start cutting down the trees all over the land. What have we been seeing happening in the earth, especially in South America, for several decades now? Deforestation. So again, y'all, the radar started going up with this. The antenna started going up as I'm watching this. And I'm like, did Tolkien see the future when he wrote the books, The Lord of the Rings? Because this stuff is happening. And I just thought that it was fascinating. I'm like, this man was almost prophetic when he wrote these books, because we're seeing trees cut down all over the earth. They said, hey, these trees are strong. Their roots run deep. We know the trees are a necessary part of this ecosystem, but they were trying to turn the world dark. And one of the first things that they were doing were cutting down the trees. Okay. Next note, Mordor. Okay. Mordor carries the same vibration of another word that means to kill. I just thought that was interesting. Mordor was the capital of where this evil was. It was almost like a place that was like hell on earth. Okay. But it was the seat of where the darkness emanated from. So wherever the darkness was, and it was a high mountain. Now we know, what does the scripture say? It says we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but we wrestle not against flesh and blood. Let me say that one more time. We wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities and powers and the rulers of darkness of this world. If they're not flesh and blood, then what are they? Mordor was this high place that had this energy of Sauron. Interesting, very interesting. Okay, let's see. Okay, carries the same vibration of another word. What did Yahshua say about the devil? It says he was a liar and a murderer from the beginning. Mordor. Just found that very interesting. Okay. I don't know why I put 5 of swords there, but anyway, let's see. Oh, I think I did that because there were 5 wraiths that came after these people, and I just thought, okay, 5 of swords. That's like a not good energy in tarot. Let's see. The next one is, it says the wraiths were afraid of water. Okay, and so there's a scene in there where this where the one of the elves, which is one of the light workers. So they had light workers in this film series too. The light workers that were not human were elves, and the elves are running from these what they were. It's an N word they were called. Let's say Dr. Felix Anderson. Greetings, man. You got me about to dig into these movies again. Great insight. Thank you. Thank you. Again, this stuff I don't think it happens as a coincidence. It's just, I think it's the day and age that we're in. It's the time we're in. And let me just say this. We know that we just had a solar eclipse, a major solar eclipse this past weekend. We know that eclipses usher in change energy. And the changes the change energy that is ushered in typically by eclipses is lasting energy. And that energy of those eclipses is typically felt 5 days before the event and 5 days after. So this epiphany happened in that eclipse cycle window. I just thought that was interesting too. Let's see. So the wraiths, these wraiths that were these kings that were coming, they were looking for this ring of power because they were like, if we get this last ring that controls all of them, then we'll rule the whole world and be able to destroy it. So, but they were chasing this elf that was trying to save young Frodo because he had gotten injured. So she had young Frodo on her horse and she's trying to save him. He got stabbed by one of those dark kings. I forgot. I think they were called something with an N. It's in my notes. I'll encounter it in a minute. So she's riding hard to try to get away from them. They're riding on their dark horses. She's on her white horse, and she's trying to get back to her realm of where these elves live. Why? Because where these elves live, it's too much light, and these things cannot go into that realm. So she's got to beat them to get back to that realm. And she finally crosses this body of water, and those dark energies stop. Y'all hear me talk about water all the time. Water is very spiritual, okay? Some of your most spiritual people on the face of the earth have major water sign placements. This stuff is not done by accident. It's not hocus pocus. It's not abracadabra. This is divine will. If you were created under, if you got major water in one of your big three, your sun, your moon, or your rising, or even in your Mars placement, you've got a lot of these intuitive and spiritual gifts. You got to stay high vibrational. Okay. This realm that this elf was going back to was too high vibrational. Those of you who saw my video titled "Your Light Disturbs Their Darkness," I used the example of the Messiah entering the tombs. Before he even got to where these possessed individuals were, they cried out, "Have you come, O thou son of David? Have you come to torment us before our time?" He didn't even open his mouth. He just showed up and he was far away from them. But his vibrational energy, his frequency was so high that his light disturbed them. High frequency produces light. Low frequency produces darkness. This is why y'all always hear me harping over and over and over again. Find your emotion. What emotional state am I in right now? And match it to that vibrational frequency cone that I show you in a number of my videos. If you're in an emotion that is considered in that low vibrational scale frequency, have the courage to pull yourself out of it. Identify the cause and then have the courage to overcome it and deal with it, because you do not need to sit in low vibrational energy. I don't want to redo that video, but y'all understand why those spirits went into a herd of swine. The people ask me why I stopped eating pork. That's why. It's a low vibrational. I don't knock anybody that does. I used to eat it, but I'm telling you, the pig is a low vibrational animal. It's not high vibrational. So when you eat low vibrational things, it can help to lower your vibration, or you've got to fight to get your vibrations up. This stuff happens without you even realizing it. Okay. So anyway, they were afraid to go into that water. That water ran them away. Water is very powerful. Water is life. Y'all, get you some water sign friends on your team. If you don't have any, get you some water sign friends on your team. Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio, in the sun, the moon, the rising, or even the Mars. Get them on your team, family. Understand yourself, know your placements. Let me keep going. Okay, so the water stopped that darkness in its tracks. They had to turn around and run. Next, faced with death, the elf led the wraiths into the water where they were washed away, which was very similar to the story of the Israelites running away from the Egyptian army, and then the Egyptian army drowning in the sea. If you watch that scene, she spoke a word over that water. It caused the water to get riled up, and that water rushed down and washed those beings away. They could not cross at that point. They had to go back. Now, those beings didn't die. It killed the orcs. The orcs that tried to follow them into the water, the orcs got washed away. The orcs, they were the the army of darkness, but they were the physical embodiment of the army of darkness. So they could be killed by this. So they were flesh and blood, even though it was rotten flesh. Okay. And that's a story for another day too, because there's some ancient prophecy that says death is going to be removed from the land. So if you're not high vibrational when that happens, you're just going to be looking like you got rotten flesh. Okay. Your flesh is just going to keep rotting and you're not going to be able to die. So maybe you'll turn into an orc. Anyway. All right. Let me get back. So let's see. Now, I thought this was interesting because when Frodo made it to the lair of the elves, when he finally woke up in that bed, and he was like, he just woke up like, where am I? Okay. This was crazy, y'all. I don't even know why they said this in the film. I just thought that was the weirdest thing. But they mentioned the time and date. They said it is 10 a.m. October 24th, and you're at the house of Elrond. So I just said, that's very interesting. They told him that he woke up at 10 a.m. on October the 24th. So that if you break that down numerologically, that is 10 plus 10 plus 24. Now, if you break that down, that reduces to the number 8. 10 plus 10 is 20. That's a 2. You drop the zeros. Plus 2 is 4. Plus 4 is 8. That's the number of infinity. Now, where Frodo was saved and healed was in a lair where these infinite beings lived. Who were these elves? These elves were infinite beings. So this is, you got, some people don't believe this, but there are angelic beings walking this earth that do not die. They cannot die. They're angels. They're angels in human form. Some people don't believe in it. They don't. I happen to believe in it. And Hollywood puts it in the stories too much for it to be fictitious. Okay. That's just me. Now, Gandor did not give in to the darkness. Remember, Gandor got captured and he got put up into this top high tower where Saruman was. So he was like, look, Saruman was like, I want your power. I want you with me. And he was like, you can serve me or you can die. Gandor was like, and Gandor didn't even have his greatest power yet. Remember, he was still called Gandor the Gray. He used to wear a gray cloak. Okay. The white wizard had higher power, but the white wizard had turned to the darkness, but he was still wearing white. So Saruman, who was the white wizard, told him, he said, you are going to serve me or you're going to die. Gandor was like, even though you don't beat me down, you don't beat me up, I'm facing death. He said, I'm not giving in. So he threw himself off of the tower. He just said, you know what? I'd rather die than serve you. He threw himself off the tower. But guess what? An eagle came and caught him. A giant eagle came and caught him out of the air before he hit the ground and rescued him and flew him to safety. I thought that was a reference to Isaiah 40 and 31. They that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They will mount up with wings like eagles. They will run and not get weary. They'll walk and not faint. I thought that was an inference to that particular scripture. So I found that very interesting. And if you look at Isaiah 40 and 31, that again reduces to 8. And 8 is a very powerful number. Okay. Y'all got friends that are life path 8s. If you don't know how to look up your life path number, you basically just take the number the number 4 that represents the month you were born, the number that represents the day you were born, and the 4-digit number that represents the year you were born. You add them all up and you reduce them to a single number, unless that number is a repeating number like 11 or 22. You don't reduce it. Okay. 11 to 22, you don't reduce it. Any other number, you reduce it down to a single digit. So if you got friends who are life path 8s, you'll notice that they're very strong. They're very durable. They don't give up. They don't quit. I just thought that was interesting that we see that reduction to 8 twice. First was the 10 a.m. October 24th reference, and then you got his being rescued by an eagle, and that, sort of, to me, referring to Isaiah 40 and 31. I got a note in here that says, where is Rivendell? I don't know. Rivendell? I don't know where that is. So if one of you guys that have seen the series wants to add to that, contribute to it, you can leave it in the chat or leave it in the comments later after the video. Give me your thoughts on what you think Rivendell is. And I'll write that in the chat here for the benefit of y'all that don't know how to spell it, but I wrote it down. That was the location of it that I'm referring to in the film. I don't know where that is or what that might refer to, but if some of you got an idea, then please let that know. And here's what's funny. I just saw 44 in the timer there. Anyway, so Saruman is a powerful wizard that turned to the darkness and began serving Sauron, which sounds a lot like the story of David's son King Solomon. Solomon sounds like Solomon. We know that Solomon started off righteous, but he failed to follow the voice of wisdom, and then he turned wicked, right? Solomon did some of the most wicked things ever. Now, later on in his life, he realized that he made a mistake. And, by some accounts, Solomon reincarnated as some other special biblical personality that had to suffer to pay back. Cause you don't not follow the script and then, leave here and then come back and just start all over. It's like grade school. You don't graduate from the 5th grade, or you don't do the requirement for the 5th grade. You don't go to the 6th grade. You got to start all over again in the 5th grade or 10th grade or 11th grade or whatever. So I believe existence is the same way. The soul doesn't die. The body does, but the soul doesn't. So if y'all don't believe me, go watch some of those NDE videos, and you're going to find that everybody says the same thing about the afterlife. Okay. The ones that, go but have to come back because they didn't finish whatever they are. So you can type in NDE in a YouTube search window and just look at some of those videos, and they're very fascinating. Let's see. I'm getting down to the end of Lord of the Rings 1. The king of the elves said that he was there 3,000 years ago when the strength of men failed in what should have been the last battle. But the lust for power kept the ring alive. Isildur was that original king that cut that finger off of that giant beast that had that ring on it, I guess it was. Isildur was to cast the ring into the fire, but he kept the ring. Isildur, to me, sounds almost like Esau. Esau, thought it was kind of similar. Anyway, he said it should have ended that day, but Isildur kept the ring, and the line of kings is broken. They're scattered, divided, and leaderless. The line of kings is broken. They're scattered, divided, and leaderless. Somebody's going to know what to do with that. I don't even need to break that down. Somebody's going to know what to do with that. The line of kings is broken. They're scattered, divided, and leaderless. I'm going to summarize this real neatly. I'm going to tie a nice bow on this when I get to the end of Lord of the Rings 3. So 3,000 years ago, could that perhaps have been the time of Babylon and Nebuchadnezzar? Was it 3,000 years ago that Nimrod was killed by Esau? Remember, Esau is the one who killed Nimrod. Nimrod was supposedly indestructible. He was supposedly indestructible. But the funny thing is, Jacob's brother Esau is the one who killed Nimrod. Y'all go look this stuff up. I don't have time to get into it. Okay. Let's see. Now, a quote I wrote from the first film. It says, "There is one who can unite them, one who could reclaim the throne of Gondor." Gondor, very interesting place. There is one who can unite them, one who could reclaim the throne of Gondor. Don't know what Gondor is, don't know what it's supposed to relate to. I just think it's interesting. It says, he turned from that path a long time ago. He has chosen the path of exile. Interesting. Let's see. The ring was forged in the fires of Mount Doom. There is the only place that it can be destroyed. So we know that Mount Doom, we see it throughout the series. It's this giant volcanic mountain, okay, the spewing volcanic fire, and the eye of Sauron sits not too far in front of it. So it's a tower itself. It is a tall black tower that sits not too far from Mount Doom. Now, I've seen some interesting videos on TikTok that talk about what's really at the North Pole, okay, and some say it is a gigantic black rock. Not gonna get into that. Y'all get on TikTok and look some of this stuff up. You can just type in TikTok, where is Black Rock, or Black Rock North Pole, and you can see what some of the commentary is. It's not my commentary, so I'm not gonna go any further with it on that. Lady DG said, I get a little confused with Rivendell, but it was a place where the elves lived and left. The elves were in Valinor, I believe, their new place. Okay. But Rivendell was a beautiful mountainous area. Okay, thank you. Thank you for adding that. I'd love to maybe I'll go back and look at it and see if there's any parallels between that and the ancient world or the modern world. Okay, let's see. So that was Mount Doom. Let's see. Mount Doom sits in the middle of a barren wasteland. Now, again, I saw about 2 or 3 videos on TikTok that talked about what's at the North Pole and why the Google Maps don't show you any images of where the North Pole is. It's just like blacked out. So thought that was interesting. But anyway, the end was like 9 companions. It said, "You shall be the Fellowship of the Ring." And I thought about the 9 of Pentacles, which is a very fortuitous card in the tarot deck, the 9 of Pentacles. So those are all of my notes from the Lord of the Rings 1. Now I'm going to skip over to the Lord of the Rings 2 notes. Lord of the Rings 2, the title of that film is The Two Towers. And the 2 towers in the film is the tower where Sauron lives. And then the second, I believe that tower is called, what was the name of that place? Gosh, it's escaping me. It was called Isengard. Isengard. So it was the tower at Isengard. And then the other tower was the tower that had the eye of Sauron in it. So the title of that movie was The Two Towers. Now, the first thing that jumped out at me was the first quote. The world is changing. Who now has the strength to stand against the armies of Isengard and Mordor? You know what? I just remembered something. I'm supposed to play some audio for y'all that I recorded off of the television that was significant, okay? Now, for those of you that are watching, and I ain't talking about the audience, for those of you who are watching, I'm using this under fair use. We're doing a critical review of this, okay? So this is under, I'm okay to use this audio clip under the fair use rules because we're doing a critical review of a piece of literary or film work. Here we go. All right, so this was from, I'm just gonna back it up here and let you guys hear a little bit of this audio because there was some commentary I wanted to do on this because some of the stuff I was like, this is too many notes to write down. So let me go here. Hopefully you can hear it. I'll turn it up.
Home of the Horse Lords. There's something strange at work here. Some evil gives speed to these creatures, sets its will against us.
Legolas, what do your elf eyes see?
The Uruk's turn northeast. They're taking the hobbits to Isengard.
Saruman.
Pause. Sorry, y'all. That water hit the back of my throat wrong. Here we go.
The world is changing. Who now has the strength to stand against the armies of Isengard and Mordor? To stand against the might of Sauron and Saruman and the union of the Two Towers. Together, my lord Sauron, we shall rule this Middle Earth.
Rule this Middle Earth. Middle East, Middle Earth, Mediterranean. Let's keep going. Let me back that up. He says the old world will let me back it up.
The fires of industry. The old world will burn in the fires of industry. The forests will fall. A new order will rise.
Now, how close does that sound to what's happening in the world today? The old world will burn in the fires of industry. The forest will fall, cutting the trees down, and a new order will arise. Yeah, pay attention. It's in the movie. I'm not going to add anything to it. Y'all make what you will of it, okay? Let's keep going.
We will drive the machine and the spear and the iron fist of the orc.
We will drive the machine of war with the sword and the iron fist of the orc. Okay? Remember, these orcs are just these beings that they just follow orders. They don't care about anything. They just want to just kill. Okay? All right. But it says, let me back that up one more time.
Spear and the iron fist of the... We will drive the machine of war with the sword and the spear and the iron fist of the orc.
Drive the machine of war. How much fighting is there going on in the earth?
We have only to remove those who oppose us.
We have only to remove those who oppose us. Almost sounds like censorship a little bit of people that have non-mainstream opinions. Let's keep going.
The horsemen took your lands. They drove your people into the hills to scratch a living off rocks. Take back the lands they stole from you. Burn every village.
Okay, so he's saying the horsemen stole your lands and drove you into the mountains to scratch out a living from whatever he said. Y'all do know that what happened when the power of the Roman Empire was broken, they were driven north into the Caucasus Mountains. The Ottoman Turks, when they finally sacked Constantinople near the end of the 1400s, they drove the Romans north. They retreated north because they were attacked from the south. So they retreated north into the Caucasus Mountains. That's what happened to the Romans. Now, some of the narrative is that happened to the ancient Israelites, but that is not true because the Romans actually attacked the ancient Israelites from the south. The Romans controlled the lands to the north. They controlled Syria, all of that. So when they invaded the land of Judah in 66 AD and started marching towards Jerusalem, they attacked from the north. You don't retreat in the direction that the attack is coming from. So they attacked Judah from the north and drove south and basically broke their backs. When the Turks, the Ottoman Turks, attacked the Romans, they attacked from the south and went north. Okay. So they took over the area today known as the Levant and kept going north. I'll save my narrative to the end. Lord of the Rings. Lord of the Rings. Let's keep going.
It will begin, Rohan. Too long have these peasants stood against you, but no more.
Elsie! You take your sister. You'll go faster with just two.
Okay, that's it. So he said, too long have these peasants stood against you. Sounds like the wealthy, sounds like the 1% almost. Too long have these peasants stood against you. So, interesting. All right, so I took some audio from each of the films. I'll share with you the notes, the audio notes from number 2 when I get through the printed notes. Let's keep going here. If y'all are enjoying this so far, drop me hit the like button for me on the video and give me a thumbs up in the chat. So, all right, let's see. All right, so back to Lord of the Rings. The world is changing. Who now has the strength to stand against the armies of Isengard and Mordor? The union of the two towers, Sauron and Saruman. I already talked about that. Actually, that was from Lord of the Rings too. I don't think I took any audio notes from one, but maybe I did. I don't know. I just thought that was interesting. Now, it says here that I got a note where they had an image and they were saying the white wizard is cunning. The white wizard is cunning. Now, another idea that I got for who this white wizard was based on the imagery that they showed in Lord of the Rings 2, there were two possibilities. It could have been A, was it the Pope? Or B, was it the image of Cesare Borgia, which is now used in churches and homes around the world to be the portrayal of JC? I'm gonna leave it right there. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Okay. All right. Just thought that was interesting that they said the white wizard is cunning. Okay. Next one. as they're coming to the white. Oh, okay. It says the white wizard approaches. Do not let him speak, for he will put a spell on you. Thought that was interesting. Thought that was very interesting. They said, don't let him speak because he'll put a spell on you. Spells are what? Words. Spells are words. I did videos. I've done videos on this. One of them was titled how to break out dark magic or something like that. I'll put it in the link in the description box. But basically, I described it sorcery, how to defuse sorcery, and take back your power. Yes, he did have great powers. In that video, how to defuse sorcery and take back your power, basically I define sorcery as two things. Sorcery is the combination of spells and illusions. Spells are words that enter your spiritual channel called your ear, and illusions are images that enter your spiritual channel called your eyes. Your eyes and your ears are attached to which chakra or which energy zone? Your third eye, which is your center of perception. So this is why your center of perception is often clouded and attacked by spells and illusions. This is why they say don't let him speak because he will cast a spell on you. This is why you hear so many people telling you, turn the news off, turn off these talking heads, stop listening to these people casting spells on you. Because what do? And I said this in the How to Diffuse Sorcery video. If anything that you are watching or listening to causes you to then be in a state of low vibrational energy, be it fear, grief, apathy, or sadness, sorrow, anger, those are low vibrational things. You ask yourself, wait a minute, was I angry? Was I sad? Was I in a grieving state? Was I apathetic prior to watching that? No, I wasn't. In fact, I was having a great day. Okay, I probably shouldn't watch that stuff anymore. Just thought that was interesting there that he says, don't let him speak for he will cast a spell on you. Next note, Gandor went through the fire and he emerged powerful and pure. So y'all know what happened with Gandor in number 2. He finally defeats this ancient gigantic demon using his light rod. Remember, the light drives away darkness. He used his light rod and he spoke the word. He said, you will not pass. They were chasing them through this dark cavern that they ended up going into because they were trying to take a shortcut to get somewhere. And they go into this dark cavern and this demonic being is about to get the drop on them. And they got to make it across this little narrow concrete bridge. And then Gandor, who is still Gandor the Grey at this point, he uses his rod and light. He shoots light out of this rod and he speaks the word, you will not pass. And he does this boom thing or whatever, and the bridge breaks and this demon falls down there. But before he can fall, he whips his little lava whip, and which is evil darkness or whatever. And he said, shall. Okay, we know how you say about that and should. Yes, that's right. Exactly. So, but anyway, he catches Gandor around the foot when Gandor thinks it's over, and he pulls him down into this cavern, and we think Gandor's dead. We think he's dead. But what we find out is he went through the fire and he emerged powerful and pure. So there's another moral of the story there. When it seems like something bad is happening to you, if you are a righteous being, that thing that seems like a loss or defeat is actually setting you up for victory. It's actually setting you up for your come up. So keep that in mind. These are themes that are in this film. It looks like it's over for him, but actually he's not only being tried by the fire, he sacrificed his life to save his friends. There's another theme, okay? He didn't know he was sacrificing his life. He just did what he had to do to save his friends. He ended up being put into the position that probably should have killed him, but it transformed him. I just talked about water in the previous notes for Lord of the Rings 1. Y'all watch that Scorpio energy. I told y'all get some water sign friends on your team. Scorpio energy is all about transformation. You got some Scorpio friends, you watch them. They probably go through a lot of stuff, but they never stay down. And when they come through it, they're actually stronger than they were before they went in it. So this is Scorpionic energy. Plutonian energy is the energy of transformation. When it looks like they're down and out, the phoenix rises from the ashes. This is what happens to Gandor. He looks like he's done. He's going down in this fiery cavern. But again, he's rescued and he emerges with all of this power. And now he's no longer in a gray robe and gray hair and gray beard. It's all white. So he's been purified. He's been tried by the fire, and he came through. That was deep, y'all. That was deep. Now, let's see. What do I have next? He emerged there. He went in Gandor the Great. He came out as Gandor the White. Okay, so the message there is our trials make us stronger. Next, Gandor says, 300 lives of men I've walked this earth. Now I feel like I have no time. I just thought that was interesting because, again, y'all have heard me say these themes that this ain't your first time here on this planet. This ain't your first time here on this planet. A lot of people don't believe in regeneration, aka reincarnation. They think, okay, you just live one time and then you die and spend eternity in heaven or hell based on how you live your life. And here, another reference, the writers know this stuff. He says, 300 lives of men I have walked this earth. Okay, I just thought that was pretty interesting. So now, multi-dimensional nature of existence. Aragorn, which is played by Viggo Mortensen, he's like the main character in the main male character anyway, in especially in the third movie. He's one of the main characters. You really can't call any of them the main character because it could be Frodo Baggins, it could be Gandor, it could be Smeagol, Smeagol, my precious. Any one of those people, and they all did a fantastic job acting. But Aragorn is he's somebody who was in love with this elf who's played by Liv Tyler, whose name is Arwen. Okay, and as he's drifting off to sleep, he hears her voice say, "Go to sleep," and then he awakens to the sound of his own voice saying, "I am asleep." He only then does he discover that he has traveled to the astral realm, or the dream realm. For those of y'all that aren't familiar with the term astral, he travels to the dream realm or the other side, if you will. And only to discover he's traveled to the astral realm where he sees Arwen. Now, Arwen's not standing before him physically when he lies down to go to sleep, but he hears her say, "Go to sleep," and then he says, "I am asleep." How many times have y'all been having a conversation, and then when you wake up, you hear yourself still having the conversation that you were having in your dream? I just thought that it was interesting. Lady DG says, "Right, energy is not destroyed; it's transferred." Amen to that. So anyway, she says, "Go to sleep." He awakens and he's in this other place of all light. And he says, "I am asleep." And then let's see, he says, "This is a dream." And then she replies, "Then it is a good dream." And she kisses him. She begins to give him guidance on how he is to proceed on his physical realm journey. So in this point in the film, he had been thrown over a cliff while fighting the orcs. He got tangled up in one of their orc horses or whatever these giant beasts were they were riding, and it went over the cliff and he went over with it. So we think he's dead, but of course he's not. And so he's trying to get his wits back about him. So he's, she says, "Go to sleep." He says, "I am asleep." And then he says, "This is a dream." And she says, "Well, if it is, it's a good one." She kisses him. And then she begins to give him guidance on how he's supposed to proceed in the physical realm, on his journey in the physical realm. She tells him that his path is for him to help Frodo, who's the hobbit that is tasked with destroying the Ring of Power. And then he tells her that he feels his path is hidden from him. She responds, "Your path is laid right before your feet." Okay. And then he wakes up. So he wakes up with the memory of that, and then he keeps going. Y'all, I can't tell you how many times I have dreamed and had conversations with people that I know here today who are living. And the context in which they were giving me an instruction had nothing to do with the real life. But a day or two later, I remember something that they said to me in that dream that was a different scenario, but the message was the same, and it applied to what I was going through at that very moment, because then it triggered the memory. And I'm like, "Oh man, he told me this," or "Oh man, she told me that." So I thought that was a very interesting thing that the writers put in here, because he is injured and he thinks he's fallen asleep, but she kisses him, and he's whatever. So he's like with her in another realm. But it's beautiful, y'all. It's beautiful the way they put the story together. Anyway, so let's see. There's a quote: "A new power is rising. March to Helm's Deep. Leave none alive. Tonight the earth will be stained with the blood of Rohan. There will be no dawn for men." This was Sauron instructing the orcs and telling them to go to Helm's Deep. And now, of course, there's always a sellout, right? there's this guy that was with the people that were at Rohan or whatever, and they found out he was a sellout because he was the one that was keeping the king under a spell. He was keeping him under a spell. Gandor broke the spell. Gandor the White, he broke the spell off of him, and then he drove this other guy out, and they were going to kill him, but he said, "Nah, let him go." This guy ends up telling Sauron where they're going and what the weak spot is of this fortress that has never been penetrated. Always a sellout, right? But what we find out in the end is that he who diggeth the pit falls in it, and he who rolls a stone, it rolls back on him. Universal law. I love it. Y'all hear me talk about it all the time. It's Proverbs 26 and 27. So when it seems like somebody who is working against us is getting the drop on us, they're actually setting themselves up to take an L. Beautiful how that always works out. So don't be discouraged, family, when you're going through stuff and it seems like it's not going your way. It actually is going your way. It has to look like it's not going your way. All right, because there's no glory in something being easy. It's just the way this works. I don't know why things work that way. Let's see. Yeah, and I put that here. Let's see. The power of the enemy is growing. I gave myself a note. Play the recording. Okay. I am going to play two more. I'm going to read two more bullet points. When all seemed lost, a unit of elite elf warriors showed up to help Rohan. So Rohan and them were backed up in Helm's Deep. This sellout told the orcs, it told Sauron how to defeat him. Sauron sends 10,000 orcs at this place. They only got 300 men to fight him. There's that number 300 again. For some reason, we see that number a lot. There was a movie 300 that talked about the Battle of Thermopylae. I believe it was Gideon went against like 10,000 Midianites with 300 men. So, or maybe it was more than 10,000. I have to go back and read that story. But I know that Gideon had 300. So that number 300, we see that a lot in these epic tales of these epic battles. So anyway, let's see. Walls of Helm's Deep were breached at a weak point. And I put a question mark. Was that a reference to the battle for Jerusalem in 70 AD? Because the walls of Jerusalem were breached by the Romans. And I'm going to get more into that in a minute. Let me play this second video, this second audio reference here. Thank y'all for hanging in here with me. Okay, she's speaking the elf language or whatever. I probably was going to skip all this, but
the enemy is growing.
There we go.
Sauron will use his puppet Saruman to destroy the people of Rohan. Isengard has been unleashed. The eye of Sauron now turns to Gondor, the last free kingdom of men. His war on this country will come swiftly. He senses the ring is close. The strength of the ring-bearer is failing. In his heart, Frodo begins to understand. The quest will claim his life. You know this. You have foreseen it. It is the risk we all took. In the gathering dark, the will of the ring grows strong. It works hard now to find its way back into the hands of men. Men who are so easily seduced by its power. The young captain of Gondor has but to extend his hand, take the ring for his own, and the world will fall. It is close now, so close to achieving its goal. For Sauron will have dominion over all life on this earth, even unto the ending of the world. The time of the elves is over. Do we leave Middle-earth to its fate? Do we let them stand alone?
Okay, so a couple things there. A couple things that I thought was very interesting. Let me go back a little bit. Let me go back just a little bit here.
Of the ring grows strong. It works hard now to to find its way back.
Okay, so the first two things. Number one, the eye of Sauron now turns its attention to the last free kingdom of men. I thought that was interesting in the current day and time that we live in, because when you look all around the world, when I think free kingdoms, to me it's a no-brainer. America. Why do I say America? Because as a former soldier, as a former soldier in the United States Army, and as a man who believes in living righteously, but at the same time defending my loved ones. And when I say defending my loved ones, I'm not just talking about underneath my roof. I'm talking about I got a next door neighbor with little girls. He's got young children. I got another neighbor that is a senior citizen. I got people in my neighborhood that I love. I come out, talk to them in the afternoons when I get off work or whatever, or I might see them outside on the weekend grilling out, and we'll just talk, or we'll share ideas on gardening. They'll come talk to my wife, whatever, about stuff that different plans they're working on for their yard. Here's what I'm planting this year. What are you doing? Blah 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 blah. These are people where if this country were ever invaded, I would gladly fight to defend my neighbors, my house and my neighbors. I'm like, I don't want to see nothing happen to nobody that I live near. It is the same way for so many people I know, especially in states where it is legal for you to, let me just say, have and maintain equipment that would be necessary to defend your home with whatever amount of force necessary. Let me just say that. All right. Let me just put it out there like that. Y'all know what to do with it. So when it says it is now going to turn its attention to the last free kingdom of men, when I hear about stuff that happened over in these different places, and I'm not just talking about what's going on in Palestine right now, because some of the stuff that's going on in Palestine has been going on in the Congo. It's been going on in different places on the African continent for decades, and it's just funny. I don't want to get on no soapbox about what gets media coverage and what doesn't, but some of the same stuff happens in other lands. The common denominator is these are lands where people do not have the freedom to be a full man and defend your family the way you need to without having to say, oh, let me call the authorities. Is the army coming to help? Are the police coming to help? If they ain't coming there to help, then you got to pick up that tool and do what you got to do to protect your family. America is like to me, that's like one of the only countries left where you can still do that. So when I hear in a movie like this that was based on some books that were written a long time ago. Now, the movies came out in the early 2000s, 2001, 2002, and 2003, respectively. But the books are a lot older. And Lady DG, if you're still here, I would love to hear what the publication date is on those books. I would love to know when they were originally written, because I don't know that answer. But somebody saw the future. So when it says this evil that's in the earth is now going to turn its attention to the last free kingdom of men, I got to be thinking, yeah, with everything that's going on in the world, how long before they come knocking on the door of the United States? How long before they come knocking on the door here in America? Now, I hear there's some people I used to follow. I won't name them because I don't like to knock at anybody's. Whatever, everybody's got the right to be who they are and the right to their own opinion. So I don't knock what somebody else says, but there's a lot of people I stopped following because they were like, hey, man, certain people need to move back to the quote unquote motherland, and, ignorant of the fact that there were brown skinned people on this land when Columbus showed up. OK, so for centuries, for even thousands of years before Columbus showed up, that generations that go back a millennia or more on this soil. OK, so but anyway, that whole narrative, I'm like, OK, you going over here, but you can't own any firearms to defend your home if some quote unquote warlords decide they want to come through. I'm here to tell y'all, none of those villages, that stuff that happens in those villages over there, none of that stuff would happen if the village men had the same capabilities as the people that were coming through. They're not free to do that. So it's easy to get somebody to succumb when you are a superior force, not in number, but in equipment. In America, I know people live in Texas right now. They waiting on something dumb to pop off. They like, I know people now who train. They some of the training they do on the weekends, and these are civilians that ain't never been in the military. Oh, okay, I got you. Anyway, she said that she doesn't have any of the books, for those of y'all that are wondering why I said that. The books are put away or whatever. Anyway, I know people right now that do training that is military grade training, and they ain't never been in the military. And I'm looking at them like, wow, like y'all serious about that life. So when I hear they're looking to turn their attention to the last free kingdom of men, I gotta think they talking about the U.S. Whoever saw that, this is the last free kingdom. Y'all tell me another one. Y'all tell me another one. See, Blackness says, stay strapped, fellas. Do what you got to do to protect your family. Do what you got to do to protect your family. Let's go.
Into the hands of men. Men who are so easily seduced by its power. The young captain of Gondor has but to extend his hand.
That's not the one I wanted to. Let me go back a little bit more.
Gathering dark, the will of the ring grows strong. It works hard now to find its way back into the hands of men. Men who are so easily seduced by its power. The young captain of Gondor has but to extend his hand, take the ring for his own, and the world will fall. It is close now, so close to achieving its goal. For Sauron will have dominion over all life on this earth, even unto the ending of the world. The time of the elves is over.
Okay, time of the elves is over. That's the other part I wanted to touch on. For those of you that are familiar, if you've read The Wars of the Jews, you know that it is documented that what Titus saw. Now, remember, I said the elves were light workers. Also, by some accounts, they were angels here on the earth, angels in human forms or whatever. Or these people had these angelic powers per se. Anyway, females too. We all need to know. Yeah, for sure. We are the ones people put their guard down, and we need to know. And yeah, absolutely. And let me pause on what I was about to say. I'm going to come back to that elf statement. But one of the things that you notice in films like that is a lot of these. Sometimes you're always going to see this heroine who is about that life. She like, look, I ain't gonna sit back here like y'all protect me while y'all go off and fight. She's like, I might need to come save one of y'all. And there's a very powerful passage of scriptural prophecy that has to deal with women standing up. And I actually used that as the basis for my video I did, was the return of the divine feminine prophesied in scripture. It was the earth's the divine feminine energy is returning and rising back up in the earth, and it is going to be like has not been seen in a couple thousand years. Let me pause for just a second to plug my laptop in because the battery's getting down. Hang on just a sec. Okay, we back in. Okay, so now back on that part real quick so I can move forward on the on that. That was it for Lord of the Rings 2. Now, it says the time of the elves is over. It was documented that when the battle started in Jerusalem in 70 AD, when it was surrounded by 3 Roman legions, that there was a sound of a rushing, like a sound of horses running, a sound of water and horses running, something. I'm paraphrasing it because I don't have it. I didn't bookmark it, but it's in the Wars of the Jews by Flavius Josephus. And they saw these beings. They saw these, what they described as angelic beings leaving from out of the top of the temple. That was documented. That's like documented history. Titus, he had that written and recorded that this is what he saw and heard before he began his attack on Jerusalem. That was the last time that they had temple sacrifices. It's like the high priests were like, I guess there's no point in doing this anymore. God is left. So I found that maybe there was a loose similarity there or a loose parallel to what happened in the ancient temple in Jerusalem before it was destroyed. But it's like when those angels left, the protection that they had left as well. So for this thing saying that the power of the elves is over, or the time of the elves is over. We know that the elves is like, yo, we out of here, man. If we stay on this planet, like if we stay in this realm, we're done, because this power is getting too strong. We can't help men at this point anymore. But of course, we know there were some elves that stayed behind and helped. And that Legoloid wasn't no joke with that. He ain't no joke with that bow and arrow. Y'all check him out. Real deal. So that is Lord of the Rings 2. I am now going to move on to Lord of the Rings 3. And you guys got any questions or comments, keep them coming. All right. Lord of the Rings 3. Saruman is locked in his keep and under guard. He has no power anymore. Is he supposed to represent the Pope? Here's why I say that. Y'all. When you look at that keep in Isengard, it has this big old giant circular thing that you see that looks very similar to what you see at the Vatican. Let me see if I can pull up a picture, y'all, so you'll know what I'm talking about. Now, you won't know what this looks like unless you saw the Lord of the Rings, and I'm not going to even try to look for. Let me see if I can. Let me not be lazy. Let me see if I can find a picture of Isengard. Let's see if there's any images of it. Okay. Oh, I got one. Look at that. Like my dad say, nothing beat a failure but a try, right? Oh, no, that ain't what I want. Hang on a second. Hang on, they tripping. Okay, let's pull this. Let me share this with y'all. Matter of fact, I'm gonna get one and put it right next to it. Let's see. Okay, y'all watch this. This is gonna trip you out. I'm telling you, they hide stuff in these movies, y'all. They definitely hide stuff in these movies, family. Peep game. Watch this. All right. All right, that's the Vatican. That's Vatican City right there. Here's Isengard. Vatican City, Isengard. Vatican City, Isengard. All right. I can't make this stuff up, y'all. I can't make this stuff up. You got to know what you're looking at in these films. The writers put it there. They can't tell it to you. They have to just carefully craft it in the narrative, right? Okay, so that was the first thing that jumped out at me when they said Saruman is locked in his keep and under guard. He has no power anymore. Okay, we know that at one time, the Pope. Listen, everybody, look. Let's just call a spade a spade. The Pope gave the order that sanctioned slavery worldwide. The Pope's order sanctioned the worldwide slave trade. The slave trade was sanctioned by the Pope. They would show up in these different lands and they would stand on the beach and read something called the Requiremento, and they would claim that land for the Pope and then subjugate the people. All right. You are now paying taxes, not to Rome, because Rome ain't there, right? But you're subject to the Roman Catholic Church. So and this is history, y'all. This ain't me picking on nobody. This ain't me pulling nothing out of my fifth point of contact. I'm telling y'all history. Now, I just thought that was an interesting parallel between the way Isengard looked and the way that Vatican City looks. And the statement from the movie was Saruman is locked in his keep and under guard. He has no power anymore. The Pope ain't ordering slavery and stuff like that anymore, and he's under guard at all times. Similar parallels. They write the stuff in these movies. You can't make it up. Next, Gandor didn't know that Frodo was still alive. Okay, Aragorn says he is alive and moves closer to the goal daily. Gandor asks Aragorn, "How do you know?" Aragorn asks Gondor, "What does your heart tell you?" What does your heart tell you? Y'all heard me do that video, Now Open Your First Eye, where I talked about the core of your being, the core of your energy body is formed by yin-yang energy that is formed by the union of your solar plexus and your heart. Your solar plexus energy zone, aka chakra, and your heart, aka chakra. Those are the only two energy zones in your body that cannot be deceived. Deception happens in the zone of perception. Deception happens in the zone of perception. Deception goes to perception. All right. You perceive what you see and what you hear. but you know in your gut and you know in your heart. Your heart is your feminine energy. Your heart is the feminine energy that matches your solar plexus, which is your gut. Your gut is the masculine energy, which matches your heart. The solar plexus supports the heart. Okay? Y'all can go watch that video. It's titled Now Open Your First Eye. If I can remember to do that, I'll put a link in the description box, but it's called Now Open Your First Eye. It's in my channel. So he says, what does your heart tell you? The heart and the gut always know the truth. So what does Gondor says? He looks in his heart and he says, you're right, Frodo is still alive. In this day and age, family, you got to make sure that that heart chakra is clear, wide open. You got to make sure that your solar plexus is clear, wide open, because they don't ever lead you wrong. Your heart doesn't lead you wrong about a situation. Your gut does not lead you wrong either. Why do people always say, what does your gut tell you? You hear that all the time. What does your gut tell you? What does your heart tell you? Next. Let's see. They're looking out in the distance. This is Legolas. He's saying the stars are veiled. Something stirs in the east. A sleepless malice. The eye of the enemy is moving. Something stirs in the east. There's something stirring in the east right now, y'all. There's something stirring in the east, but it's called the Middle East. It is the east of the Middle Ocean, the Middle Earth Ocean. Okay, the Middle Earth Sea is something to the east of the sea in the Middle Earth, Mediterranean Sea. Just thought that was interesting. Next, it says, the crownless again shall be king. The crownless again shall be king. I thought that was interesting because that was a prophecy in that movie about Aragorn. Okay, he wasn't wearing a crown. He just thought he was a ranger. And people looked at him like he was just a guy who was good with the sword. But there was a prophecy spoken that said, the crownless again shall be king. The crownless shall be king. Y'all want to see a scripture that sounds almost like that? Watch this. This is one of my favorite passages, and I read it all the time. The crownless again shall be king. This comes from the book of Jeremiah. Now, let's see, where are we? I'm almost done, y'all. Thank you for hanging out with me tonight. All right. Jeremiah 30 is an end times prophecy. This has not happened yet. Some people try to argue that it has, but it has not happened. But it's knocking on the door. I'm here to tell y'all. Okay. The eighth verse, Jeremiah 30:8. For it shall come to pass in that day, saith the Lord of hosts, that I will break his yoke from off thy neck and will burst thy bonds, and strangers shall no more serve themselves of him. Who? Jacob, Jacob's seed, Jacob's offspring. Verse 9, but they shall serve the Lord their God and David their king, whom I will raise up unto them. Now, some people get wrapped around the axles with the word David. Okay, David is a name, but it is also a thing. Here's what I mean. And I did this in another video. It's one I've done. It's been about two and a half, maybe years ago. It was called 333 Israelite Awakening is what I called it. And I just named it that because I woke up with that download at 3:33 a.m. That's why I call it 333 Israelite Awakening. Anyway, David, if you were to spell the name using ancient Hebrew characters, it is Dawad. The Da, the Wa, and the Da. Da is the door of a tent. The Wa is the stake that holds the ropes that tie a tent and hold a tent in place. So if you've got a string of characters that say Dawad, what you technically have is a stake that is holding together or joining together two houses. Okay. So when it says that these things are going to happen and then they're not going to serve strangers anymore, but they're going to serve their king David that he's going to raise up to them, it is talking about somebody who is to come, who is going to join two split houses together and unify them and make them one again. Dawad literally means one who holds two houses together. The Da is the door of the tent. You got two of them with a Wa in the middle, which is the tent peg. So Dawad literally means one who joins together two houses. We know that after Solomon's death, Israel split into two different houses. You had Israel and you had Judah split into two kingdoms. So there's going to be a coming one who is chosen from among men who is going to be the joining together, the joining force of these two houses. This is prophecy. It ain't Matt making this up. I'm telling you what I read. I'm just interpreting it. Okay, this has not happened yet. Anyway, that part says the crownless shall once again be king. I thought that was very interesting. Now, Minas Tirith is the city of kings. Minas Tirith, and that is the place of the last battle. So again, I'm looking at parallels here, and I'm like, is Minas Tirith supposed to be like modern Jerusalem or ancient Jerusalem or something like that? The city of kings. Now, when you look at Middle Earth, there was really two cities of kings. One of them was called pharaohs, and the other one was the kings in ancient Israelite. So you had ancient Israel, you had ancient Jerusalem, and then you had, I guess, what would be Cairo, I guess. I don't know. I'm not big on ancient Egypt as much as I am on ancient Israel. So I don't know what the city of kings, the equivalent of the city of kings. I know there's a valley of kings in ancient Egypt, but I just thought that it was interesting that Minas Tirith was called the city of kings. So, and that was the place of the last battle. Now we know that in Joel chapter 3, that the Most High was going to draw all of the armies of darkness to the valley of Jehoshaphat and deal with them there. Just thought it was interesting. Just some parallels I saw there. Anyway, moving on. The white tree of Gondor, the tree of the king. When you see that scene in Lord of the Rings 3, it is this white tree. Let me see if I can find an image of that. The white tree of Gondor, because I'm going to show you another parallel here. All right, let's see. Let's get rid of those Vatican pics. Let's see. The white tree of Gondor. Okay, there's the white tree of Gondor, and it is sitting in the middle of Minas Tirith. Okay, now I'm gonna share the screen in just a minute. I'm gonna pull up the other one here. Let's see. Some of y'all already kind of know where I'm going. There's a second reference. And let's get one more. I don't think that's the one. Okay, I'm gonna get rid of that reference because it doesn't look like it. All right, so let's do this. All right, there it is. All right, so parallels, y'all. Watch this, family. Here we go. All right. Now this is the white tree of Gondor. All right. Whoa! Fall back. Let's see. All right. Let me see if I can find a better image. I can make no. Y'all don't want to play right. They don't want to play right. Hang on a second here. Let's do this one. All right. I'll just make it bigger like this. Okay. This is the white tree of Gondor. Now, looks a lot like this tree right here in the middle of the Garden of Gethsemane. So we see these parallels. Now that's one side view. I could probably get a better image here. Let's try that one. Oh, come on, y'all. Don't do this to me. All right, anyway, y'all saw it. Is that it? Okay. There's a bunch of trees in the Garden of Gethsemane, I guess. But anyway, I just thought that this white tree of Gondor looked very similar because I watch it. You guys, I watch a lot of walking tours, relaxing walking. He's one of my favorite walking tour people. But anyway, Green Tambourine said Gondorf was a great character. Yes, he was. So let me clear that off the screen here and finish up these notes, and then we're going to wrap this up. So another parallel, just drawing these parallels. So the steward of Gondor, which is sitting in Minas Tirith, refuses assistance that would return the heir and true king. So this steward of Gondor knows who the steward of Gondor, he's sitting in Minas Tirith. He knows who the real king is, but he refuses him, and he's like, nah, you ain't getting up in here. This is I've been here all this time. I ain't about to get up off this seat. I've been here all this time. I'm the ruler. I'm the steward. I'm the ward of Gondor. Not you. I don't care who your daddy was. Y'all do what y'all want to do with that, okay? Next, the Witch King of Angmar, the Lord of the Nazgul. That's what those people were called. Those dark shadow beings were called Nazgul. The greatest of the 9. So the Witch King of Angor is the greatest of the 9. And again, these are those 9 kings. I read about them earlier. It says, we come to it at last, the great battle of our time. Another quote there. The board is set. The pieces are moving. The age of men is over. The time of the orc has come. So there are a lot of people that believe that what is happening in the land of Israel right now, what is happening in Palestine, is not the end, but is the trigger for the end. A lot of people believe that. So when I saw that this quote said, we've come to it at last, the great battle of our time, you do know that when you read the scripture in the end time prophecy, there is one great battle for Middle Earth and for the souls of men that is going to take place. Now, for this thing to say that the time of the orc has come, when you look into who the orcs were, they tell you in the movies, they say the orcs were former elves that fell under the darkness. Now, I don't want to talk about this whole transhumanism thing. You can just look that up yourself, okay? But that is a real thing. We've heard Elon Musk talk about it, okay? There is a move by some big technocrats that say that, you know what, we're coming to a time where men are going to be more perfect if they are merged with technology. Like basically the age of organic men needs to end is what some people think. And this is why you're seeing a lot of these some of this impossible food. I can't tell y'all what to do. I only tell y'all what I do. I don't eat that stuff. I tried it when it first came out. I drank the Kool-Aid. I was like, wait a minute. Something is real strange about this. Something's very strange about it. And then I noticed that I had trouble digesting it, right? I'm like, okay, this is supposed to replace, I don't want the impossible meat. I want possible meat. Give me possible. Give me that which is possible. I don't want the impossible meat. I don't want nothing that's beyond. Don't give me nothing that's beyond meat. I'm going to deal with what I've been dealing with, all right? You want to give me something beyond meat will be in the beyond when the time for me to be in the beyond is. But for now, I'm going to eat this right here meat. Y'all give me this right here meat. I don't want that beyond. Y'all keep that beyond to yourself. I want that right here. Give me one of them right here burgers, all right? Anyway, let me keep it going. I'm just saying, y'all. I'm just saying. It says the time of the orcs is here. Cross-reference that with transhumanism, all right? They put these clues in these shows, y'all. Y'all got to watch them. The Wheel of Time. Y'all hear me talk about that one all the time. Because I'm going to do a follow-up to this. I didn't want to touch this, what's coming in this episode. I just wanted to keep this strictly about the movies. But I'm going to do a follow-up because I said with every what, there's a connected why. I want to, and the follow-up, I'll say that to the end. I'll save it to the end. All right. Let me get through this. The time of the orc has come. Okay. After some, I don't know what that ruined city was. Lady DG, if you remember the name of that city, type it in the chat. But there was this ruined city where the young guy whose father was sitting in the seat that didn't want to give it up and told his son to go back out there and basically go to a suicide mission fighting those orcs after the city was overrun. He told me, he said, Dad, the city's overrun. He said, I don't care. Go back there and fight and drive those people out. He's like, the orc army is taking it over. We can't get it back. We barely made it out with our lives. He said, mount up and go back and take it. So he basically sent like all of them to their deaths, or maybe not. I don't want to spoil it. Y'all watch the movie. Anyway, whatever this ruined city was, the men retreated toward Minas Tirith, and as the evil Nazgul was about to wipe them out, again, Gondor rode out and drove them back with light. I ain't gonna beat a dead horse, y'all. Y'all keep your vibrations high. High vibrational energy produces light. Okay? It produces light energy. This is why high vibrational people, when they walk into a room, the lights get brighter. That's a real phenomenon. High vibrational energy produces light. If the light gets brighter when you walk in there, it's probably an indication that you are high vibrational. Okay? Now, so he drove them back again with light. Light drives out darkness. What did the men in the tomb say to the Messiah? Have you come to torment us before our time? Messiah ain't said one word to him. All right, keep that in mind. Now, another quote. Long ago, the men of the mountain swore an oath to the king of Gondor, but when the time came, they fled. So Isildur cursed them never to rest until they had fulfilled their pledge. So these men lived and died, but they were cursed and could not go into the realm of souls. So they were stuck between this realm and the realm that the essence that is you is supposed to return to when you transition. They were stuck in between. So they occupied some mountainous area and they were not allowed to go there because of the curse that was put on them by Isildur. So I thought that was interesting. Basically, he cursed them to never rest until they fulfilled their pledge. So what's his name? I just had it. The king dude. It's getting late, y'all. He and the dwarf and Legolas, Aragorn is his name. Aragorn, the dwarf, and Legolas, they enter the realm controlled by the dead, and then they're trapped. Aragorn summons these dead spirits to fight for them, and they say, none but the king of Gondor can command us. So one of these dead entities told him, he said, now you're going to die. He swings the sword to kill Aragorn, but Aragorn has been given the sword of Isildur by the elf father. His little elf girlfriend basically gave up her immortality because she wanted to stay with the love of her life, the love of her existence or whatever. And she basically took this broken sword of Isildur that had cut the ring off this giant demonic beast the 3,000s of years earlier. She gave him that broken sword and said, put this back together. This needs to go to Isildur's heir. So the ranger dude wasn't even really aware of the fact that he was Isildur's heir. She gave it to him. She said, you're the heir. You're the next one that's supposed to take over this kingdom. You're the next one in line. So basically the realm of kings was broken, but it returned. Okay. So she gives him this sword. And when he goes into this realm of the dead, this dead leader tries to kill him. He puts the sword up and deflects his blow. And then his dead being is looking at him like, wait a minute. He said, and then I wrote it here. He told the dead king that he was Isildur's heir. And then that dead king retorted, that line was broken. Aragorn responds, it was remade. Now fight for me and fulfill your oath. So I thought that was very powerful. He was the only one that could wield that sword. He was the only one that could, because he had that royal ancient blood in him. There are royals walking this planet right now that don't even know they got royal blood in their veins. They don't even know it. Okay. Frodo was trapped in a spider's lair. Again, light ran that giant spider away. He got this little vial of light juice from one of the elves. And when that spider was about to get the drop on him, he holds up this light. And, the light drives him back. This theme keeps coming out, y'all. Light. High vibrational energy. Light. Next, Frodo finally escapes from Smeagol and passes out. The giant elf speaks to him from the dream realm and tells him that the task of destroying the ring was given to him and that if he doesn't do it, no one else can. So he wakes up from his being knocked out or whatever. Now, they in this third episode or this third of the trilogy, men are battling giants. All right. I got a real treat for y'all in the follow-up of this, talking about those giants. All right. This is going to come from, this will be audio from a Gaia video. Gaia is a video streaming platform where they talk about interesting phenomena in the earth. Okay. I can't wait to share that with you guys. Let's see. So Frodo is stung. He's finally stung by this giant spider, which becomes his way inside the tower that he needed to enter to destroy the ring. So again, here's something that seems like it is a setback, but it's actually a setup. I told y'all earlier, I'm going to say this again. Setbacks, if you were doing the right thing in your life, setbacks are nothing more than setups. Setbacks are setups. Don't forget that. I tell you that so that you will not be dismayed or discouraged when something happens that feels like a setback. Go pray, go meditate, go ask the Most High, go inside, say, what am I supposed to do with this information? What am I supposed to do with this experience? Okay. Hey, y'all, pink hand waving. That's funny. How you doing? So setbacks are nothing more than setups. And that's to set you up to win. It looks like a setback, but it's there to set you up to win. What does the scripture say? It says, behold, the stone that the builders rejected has become the chief cornerstone. The stone that the builders rejected has become the chief cornerstone. When you get rejected by your friends or people you thought were your friends, they're going to come back and see that you are the stone that's holding the whole building up. So don't be discouraged. Next, let's see. So Frodo was stung by that spider, but that sting, if he didn't get stung, he could not have gotten inside of the lair where he needed to be to destroy that ring. Very interesting. Okay, finally, let's see. The city is breached. This is Minas Tirith. It's breached, and they fall back to the second level. That same thing happened in 70 AD. Jerusalem had 3 walls. It had an outer wall, it had a middle wall, and it had an interior wall. So when that outer wall got breached, what did they do? They gave the order to fall back behind the second wall. That same thing happened during the Battle of Jerusalem in 70 AD. So I saw some parallels there. The female, wow, right here. A female slayed the dragon to protect her father. Now, there's a passage of scripture that talks about this. This is what I told you I was going to come to in the third one. We're getting close to the end, y'all. Let's see. All right, Jeremiah 30. I thought it was the 31st chapter, Jeremiah. Let's go there. Jeremiah 31 and 22. Y'all can write this down. Let's see. Let's find it. Okay, boom, right here. Okay. How long wilt thou go about, O thou backsliding daughter? For the Lord hath created a new thing in the earth. A woman shall compass a man. When you compass something, you're surrounding it to protect it. Okay. You're surrounding it to defend it. I use that as the basis of the video I did talking about the prophesied return of the divine feminine energy to the earth. This woman who wasn't even supposed to be out there fighting, her daddy said, stay back, stay back. Treating these strong women like they're frail. And here's the beauty of it. She was still beautiful and feminine, but she just had a lot of fight in her. She was not going to lay down and cower in a corner when she felt like she could contribute, when she felt like she can contribute. Nobody asked her to. She was told to stay back. But there was something inside her that said, if I don't go here in this battle, somebody I love, something might happen to him. So she disguised herself as a man. She put the helmet on so her daddy couldn't see her face. She pulled her hair up. Didn't put no lipstick on. Didn't put no makeup on. Those helmets came all the way down to the nose, covered the face and came down to the nose. Only thing you could see is the eyes and a little bit of the lips. She made sure she didn't put no lip butter on. Y'all know I like that lip butter. She didn't put no lip butter on, okay? And she went out there and she went when this demonic being, that nozzle or noggle or whatever it was called, when it came for her daddy who had fallen, because that thing knocked her daddy down, the dragon, he told the dragon to finish it. So the dragon opened his mouth and was about to come down. She stood in front of it. She's like, nah, not today, bro. You're not going to do this to my daddy. And he was, that thing was like, he said, you cannot kill me. No man can kill me. So then this little hobbit comes up behind him, stabs this thing in the leg. The thing's like, ah, the hobbit ain't a man. And then this woman, she drew her sword and cut the head off the dragon and then killed this dark being. And as she's sticking him through the darkness in his mask, she says, I am no man. I thought that was powerful, y'all. I thought that was powerful. I thought that was very powerful. I've seen a new thing in the earth. A woman shall compass a man. So again, I feel like this Lord of the Rings trilogy, somebody saw the future and they hid some very beautiful narrative carefully, prophetic narrative carefully in the text of the book and the script of the movie. All right. She says, I'm no man, and slayed him, killed him dead, y'all. Yeah, I said killed, K-I-L-T. She killed him dead. Yeah. All right. So Aragorn comes in with an army of the dead. Now, I thought this was a reference to the ancestors, because people in the spiritual community, you understand that you got people in the ancestral realm behind you working around our clock, because there's no time in the realm of the divine. The time is for this realm. Time is kept in this realm. Time's not kept. There's no time there. There's only possibilities. So here, these things that could not be killed by men killed these orcs and wiped out this army of orcs, and basically was the juice that won the battle. It was the juice that won the battle. Now, ultimately, the final battle came when the Ring of Power was destroyed. But I thought that was a reference to the ancestral realm. There's a bunch of people out there that don't believe, oh man, I don't believe in no ancestors, man. That ain't got nothing to do. That ain't in the Bible, man. I ain't got nothing to do. No ancestors. If energy is neither created nor destroyed, tell me which one of y'all, if you transitioned to the other side and had children or grandchildren that needed your help, wouldn't come to their aid. Talk to me. Talk to me, somebody. Talk to me. So anyway, these beings had to do this so that they could be cleared of their karma, because they were supposed to do something. They were sworn to an oath to do it, and they didn't do it, so they were cursed to sit in there until they fulfilled their oath. So they never had anybody come to give them an opportunity to do the right thing. Finally, here came someone who, the only person who could do it, which was the bloodline of Isildur. He came and said, I'm now commanding y'all to come and fulfill your oath. Y'all broke it the last time. That curse gonna sit on you till you do it. We need y'all right now. We need y'all to come through right now. They came through. And when they were done, they said, are we good? He said, y'all good. And they could finally go on to the realm of the dead where they could rest. She said, I love that. Even the trees helped them. The trees sure did. Those trees came through. Now, I know y'all have seen, some of y'all have seen these videos of these walking trees. I know some of y'all have seen these videos. And trees are powerful, y'all. I'm here to tell you, there have been times in my body where I felt sore, or I felt like I was coming down with something under the weather. And I literally, there's a big tree. I won't tell anybody where it is, but there's a big tree nearby me that I go to when I feel like I need some energy, or if I feel like I'm not feeling my tops. And I'll take my shoes off and put my hand on that tree like this. It's that big. It's big enough for me to hold like this. I'll put my hand on that tree. I'll even put my forehead to it and just start breathing and meditating. And I'll ask the tree to balance my energy out and to remove whatever, to ground me out and remove whatever energy is disturbing my body. And y'all, I promise you, before I could take my third or fourth breath, I could feel just a calmness coming over my body, like almost like water washing down me. These trees are real, y'all. Y'all stop that. Why do you think Saruman told them to cut the trees down? Thank you, lady. Thank you, Lady G. Thank you. Thank you for the reference. Thank you for the reference. Why do you think Saruman told them to cut the trees down? Why do you think they're cutting down some of the most ancient trees in the world? They're getting cut down by the day. These trees are alive and they help us. Why would you cut down something that takes away your carbon dioxide and returns you, takes your carbon dioxide and returns you oxygen? What kind of sense does that make? Right? But remember, they said the days of men are coming to an end in the movie. If trees provide you with oxygen, if trees provide you with a canopy to stay cool in the summer and warm in the winter, you cold in the winter, watch this. Go out in the winter time where it's cold. Go to a park or something. Stand in an open area like a big open field with your coat off, and then go stand underneath some trees and notice the temperature difference. I can't make this stuff up, y'all. I can't make it up. IX B said trees do speak to us. It's just very versatile, slowly. Yes. And yes, slowly. You're right. And those trees in that movie talk very slow. And the thing that made me laugh was they said they don't talk about anything that ain't worth taking a long time to talk about. I just thought that made me laugh, y'all. I chuckled when I heard that. Anyway, I'm getting toward the end of my notes here. Let's see. This thing said, okay, I talked about where Eowyn killed him and said, I'm no man, and then drew the sword and killed it. All right, that was an example of divine feminine power that is coming back. I told y'all, stop, listen. Women and men were created to be partners. Men are the dominant physical energy. We know that, but women are the dominant spiritual energy. So that is the yin and yang energy complete. It's the yin and yang energy complete. I respect women. I respect the spiritual capabilities of women. Women I know who love me, they respect my physical powers. We work as a team. We work as a team. Okay. Let's see. And I got a little bit of water in my chart too, so I'm a little bit intuitive too, a little bit. Anyway, let's see. The king died. This was interesting. The king died, but not with shame. He redeemed himself for wanting to take the cowardly route in the past. So what happened with her father eventually dies, but he says, I leave without shame. I'm ready to go with my fathers now, and I go there without shame. He was ashamed of some decisions he made in the past to be cowardly. Hey, let's go run and hide until the danger is gone. This time he said, no, we're gonna go out here and fight. He said, if we gonna die today, we going out on the shield. We ain't going out begging for our lives. We're going out on the shield. And so he finally was able to die with honor. He said, I don't die with shame now. Shame, y'all need to understand something. If you leave here with shame, you carrying that into the next life with you. Don't leave here with no shame. Shame is a low vibration. If you leave here with shame, you carrying that into the next life. This is why I tell y'all, check your emotions against that scale and make sure you're above the midline. The midline is courage. Make sure you're above that. Use courage. You ain't meant to sit in the energy of courage. You're supposed to use courage for something. Okay. But courage is the baseline for high vibrational energy. So you're supposed to use it to catapult yourself. All right. Y'all keep that with you. I talk about this all the time, but I'm going to keep talking about it until we all get it, until we all get there together. Let's see. 2 notes left. Smeagol ends up wrestling the ring away from Frodo. Frodo tackles him to take it back, and they wrestle till Smeagol falls, ring and all, into the fires of Mordor. The ring of power is destroyed, and the power of Sauron is broken. The orcs are swallowed up by the earth, and the light is restored to the realm. Okay? And so what happens here? Again, it looked like all was lost because Smeagol got that ring back. So Smeagol harassed them all the way to the end. I told y'all, listen, people that trigger us in our lifetimes, they're triggering us actually helps to catapult us to our destiny. It actually helps to catapult us to our destiny. So here was this devil, this crazed, deranged person that had conversations and arguments with himself. Okay. One part of him agreed, the other part disagreed. He harassed them and tried to kill both of those hobbits, Frodo and Samwise. He harassed them all the way to the end. But he ultimately served as the mechanism that got that ring thrown into the fire. Battle between our inner self is there too, with Smeagol and Gold. That's a good point. That is a good point. Chuck and Jiving, what's up? What's up, man? What's up, brother? What's up? What's up? So, but anyway, the things that trigger us drive us to our purpose. Keep that in mind. The things that trigger us guide us to our purpose. And those of you that understand how soul group energy works, you know that before you incarnate, you actually help to build your team out, including the people that's going to trigger you into your soul's purpose. They're part of your team. And no, you ain't got to like them, but they're part of your team. They're part of what is going to drive you toward your purpose and your destiny. Last bullet point, y'all, and then I'm going to play this last audio clip. The power of the 3 rings is ended. The time has come for the dominion of men. So I think this is how the story ends, y'all. When I say how the story ends, I'm not talking about the movie. Remember, the end of one thing is always the beginning of something else. What was profound is it was said the power of the 3 rings is broken. Remember in the beginning, they said 9 rings and 1 to rule them all. But at the end, she said the power of the 3 rings is ended. The elf said that. What are those 3 rings that have power over the earth and the realm of men right now? Religion? Let's see. I'll come back to that. I'm tempted to read that. Okay. 3 rings. Religion, money, banking, finance is number 2. And the military. Those are the 3 rings of power that rule over this realm. Military. And let me tell you something. The police are just civilian military. Let's just put that right where it is. And I'm not knocking police officers. I have friends that are police officers, and they're righteous in their duties and the execution of their duties. So I much respect to them. But it is what it is. If you're wearing a uniform and carrying a weapon in service, you are a soldier. I just happen to be a federal soldier by being in the United States Army. But somebody who is a member of a police office or a sheriff's department, they're a local government soldier. You got local government, and then you got national government. National soldiers are Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Coast Guard. Local soldiers are police and sheriffs deputies. So the powers that the 3 rings of power that rule the earth right now are the military, finance, and religion. And this film, the third installation of Lord of the Rings ends with the quote, "The power of the three rings is ended. The time has come for the dominion of men." This is how it started. Men were never intended to be ruled over by other men. We're all supposed to know how to act and how to interact. And that's encoded inside of us. And so when you are doing the right thing, what did the Messiah said? He said, "I'm gonna leave you with 2 commandments. Forget all that other stuff you heard, all that other stuff you read. I'm gonna leave you with 2. Love God with all your heart, all your mind, and all your soul, okay? And love your neighbor as yourself." That's real easy. If you loving your neighbor like you love yourself, how many of you gonna hurt yourself? Love your neighbor like you love yourself. That's easy. That's how men get back to the dominion, the earth being dominated and ruled by men. But it's self-rule. You don't need somebody to rule over you. Those 3 rings of power are the rule of another over you: religion, finance, and the military. All 3, those are the 3 rings of power. This story ends with those 3 rings of power being broken. Now, I'm going to play this last clip, and I'm going to show y'all some interesting images that lead me, again, back to Mediterranean being Middle Earthian, okay? Last audio clip. Here we go. Let's see. Or is there 2 of them? Hang on.
A fool, but an honest fool he remains. He told Sauron nothing of Frodo and Luke. You've been strangely fortunate. Pippin saw in the Palantir a glimpse of the enemy's plan. Sauron moves to strike the city of Minas Tirith. His defeat at Helm's Deep showed our enemy one thing. He knows the heir of Elendil has come forth. Men are not as weak as he supposed. There is courage still, strength enough perhaps to challenge him. Sauron fears this. He will not risk the peoples of Middle-earth uniting under one banner. He will raise Minas Tirith to the ground before he sees a king return to the throne of men. If the beacons of Gondor are lit, Rohan must be ready for war.
Tell me, why should we ride to the aid?
Okay, I just thought that was interesting because, again, I read Jeremiah, the 30th chapter and the 8th verse for you, 8th and 9th verses. So this is why you see puppet kings around the earth right now, but everything is pretty much men voting for their leaders and all of this stuff. And they said they're like, hey, listen, before we see one king to unite them all, we'll raise all of these cities to the ground, okay? And here's the last one. All right, so let me set this up. This is a brilliant speech. This is Aragorn spurring everyone into action in the last epic battle, which by some accounts could be those battles referenced in the books of Obadiah and the book of Joel chapter 3. And I did a whole video on Joel chapter 3, by the way.
Sons of Gondor! Of Rohan! My brothers! I see in your eyes the same fear that would take the heart of me. A day may come when the courage of men fails, when we forsake our friends and break all bonds of fellowship. But it is not this day. An hour of wolves and shattered shields when the age of men comes crashing down. But it is not this day. This day we fight. By all that you hold dear on this good earth, I bid you stand, men of the West!
Okay, so I thought that was epic. He spurring them in the battle. He says, hey, look, the day might come when we ain't here today. We ain't here no more. But that day ain't going to be today. Not today. Not today. Draw your swords and let's go fight. I thought that always gives me hype when I hear that part of that movie. But let me share with you guys these 2 images that, again, lead me to think that Middle Earth is actually the area around the Mediterranean. Okay, watch this. Let's see. Where is my downloads? Here we go. All right. That's image number 1. And here's image number 2. All right. Window. Let's slide this one over. All right, here we go. All right. Now, what I'm looking at here, even though it's small, it's small to scale, this looks a lot like the Mediterranean. And it's enclosed. What you see on this side, the perspective, let's say we're looking at the Mediterranean from the area of Tel Aviv, Israel, right? Okay. So as you go on down around here, you go on down around and you got Egypt, and then you got Algeria, Libya, all of this stuff over here, and then boom, the Strait of Gibraltar. If y'all can follow my little plus there, my cursor, you cross over the Strait of Gibraltar, and then you got Spain. Okay, you keep coming over, you got Italy, you got Greece. Okay, then you over here in Syria, Lebanon, back to Israel. So to me, I just thought that was a scaled down look at the Mediterranean, because this is Middle Earth. And this is the end scene where Gandor and Frodo and Bilbo Baggins are on the ship with the elves that are leaving Middle Earth and sailing away to the land of eternal, whatever they called it. But that looks a lot like the Strait of Gibraltar. And I'm gonna bring that up on this screen here. I'm gonna bring up my map here and show you the Strait of Gibraltar. All right, let's see. Can we close this? Let me make this a little bigger. Okay, let me share this with y'all. This stuff is mind blowing, y'all. They put this stuff right here in the movies, and it's like hidden in plain sight. Boom! Look at that. That's the Strait of Gibraltar. That's the Strait of Gibraltar. You keep going over. I don't want to drop a pen. What are we doing here? You keep going over. As I said, that's Spain. All right, France, Italy, Greece, Turkey, and then you get over here in Syria, Lebanon, Israel, Palestine, down here to Egypt, and then you're over in Libya, Algeria, and then Morocco. All right, and then they had to sail through the Strait of Gibraltar over here, Tangier, get through there, and then boom, you're out in the open ocean. What is today called the Atlantic Ocean, which in times of old was called the Ethiopic Ocean. Okay, Ethiopic Ocean. I showed y'all that in another video. I can show it to you again. Okay, so let me read a couple of comments, and for those of y'all want to see Ethiopic Ocean, let me just show y'all real quick. All right, let me just show that. Let me pull that up real quick, because some people might be new here and have not seen me or heard that narrative or whatever. I got that in a couple of different videos, but let me just pull it up for you. All right. Ethiopian Ocean. There's another one I'll show you here. Boom, there you have it. The Atlantic Ocean was known as the Ethiopian Ocean until the 19th century. Look at that. Ethiopian Ocean. Why is that? Because before the geopolitical lines were drawn, the African continent was actually called, in times of antiquity, was called Ethiopia, as you can see here. Ethiopia. There are a number of accounts in the Bible where people were not called black, they were called Ethiopian. So Ethiopian is like they weren't called African, they were called Ethiopian. So Ethiopia now, modern times, has been chopped up and it's like a little small ocean or whatever. But yeah, I mean a small country compared to what it used to be called. But there would be no reason to call this the Ethiopic Ocean if it were referenced in a small strip of land over in the east of the continent, right? So that is it, family. That is it. I'm gonna show you one more reference, and then y'all gotta watch the follow up. Y'all have to watch the follow up. Let's see, Divided My Lands. I won't. You know what? I won't do that. Joel chapter 3 and the book of Obadiah. Y'all can read that on your own. I'm getting ready to wrap this up. Let me read some comments before I get off of here. I really appreciate y'all, family, hanging out with Matt T's Rap on a Sunday evening when you could be watching the artist formerly known as My New York Giants probably getting their head beat in by the Buffalo Bills. I don't watch a lot of football anymore, y'all. I watch Deion. I watch the Colorado Buffaloes because they're exciting. But they took a bad loss this Friday night, but it is what it is. Anyway, I ain't talking about football. We're going to keep this about Middle Earth. Now, I told y'all I was going to tell y'all at the end. In the follow-up, we are going to talk about this video I saw today on Gaia that talks about what is in Middle Earth that has all of these nations fighting over it. What is in Middle Earth that has all these nations fighting over it? We're going to talk about that. And in fact, y'all, I think I'm going to do that live tomorrow, just so while the info is still fresh. I don't want to hold y'all till next Friday or Saturday or Sunday. I'm going to do that live tomorrow. So y'all stay tuned to my community board for the announcement. But I am going to do that follow-up to this video tomorrow. And it won't be as long. It won't be as long because I won't have to go through 3 movies and 3 notes, 3 sets of notes. I'm going to jump straight to the point, and I'm going to share with you guys why I believe there has been a 1,000-year-old fight for Middle Earth. And it has everything to do with what is present on that real estate. If there were nothing there, there'd be no reason to fight, right? There's nothing there of any value, there'd be no reason to fight. We're going to talk about that in the follow-up to this. But I'm going to read some comments, and then we'll close this out. Let's see. Okay. Lady Dagger Status says, I love that even the trees help them. We can benefit from nature if we do right by it. Yes, we can. She says, yes, and I thought of the movie. I ground and learned that after you touch trees to gain energy. You absolutely do. Y'all, don't let somebody clown you talking about, oh, he's a tree hugger. Everybody should be tree huggers, all right? Unless the tree don't want you on it. All right. Some people the tree don't want on it because if you're a hateful person, the trees already know. All right. Real talk, y'all. When there's a storm coming with high winds, I go out in my backyard and I talk to the trees in my backyard and I tell them I need y'all to be strong. I need y'all to be strong. I need y'all to stand up to the wind. And wind, I talk to the wind too. Wind, don't please help. Please work with the trees. Trees work with the wind. I don't want any trees on my house. I do. That's real, y'all. That's real. You can go out there and talk to them trees. They're intelligent. They've been around a lot longer than us. Trees have, and water holds all the memories. Water holds all the memories. You want to know something? You know, I better save that. I better save that. Y'all, we learning. We're waking up now. We're exiting out of the age of believing and entering into the age of knowing. This knowledge is returning. All right. Let's see. The battle between our inner self. I saw that one. Matt, bro, I've been wearing that scale out since I was last chatting with you. For real, for real. Oh, that's real talk. I keep it. Listen, I keep that on. I just got it memorized now. So anytime I find myself in some low vibrational energy, the first thing I do is I sit with myself and I start reflecting like, okay, what encountered? What did I encounter? What has transpired since the last time I started off the day feeling pretty good. What has transpired? You know? And sometimes, y'all, when we really intuitive, we can also pick up the emotions of people that we care about. We can. So sometimes check on your people. Sometimes if you're having a great day and then all of a sudden out of the blue, you start feeling bad, go within and try to identify that energy and check on your people, y'all. Sometimes it's somebody you're connected to. That's real. I've shared some of those stories. I won't do it again here. I can see the relationship. Maps were removed from newer Bibles as a child. I remember seeing them. Same here. Lady said oil. It's deeper than oil. It's deeper than oil, Lady Dagger Status. It's deeper than oil. It's way deeper than oil. Let me just say it's intangible. Oil is tangible. Let me say it's intangible. I'm going to tease you with that. Come back tomorrow. We're going to talk about it. She said rock matter. She reaching. Artifacts. Yeah, there's some artifacts. I wasn't even talking about the artifacts. There's some artifacts, Shella. There's some artifacts. Okay, she said, great breakdown and insight, Matt. I have to take time and nerd out on these films. I'm glad I bought them when I did. Did I buy them or did they? You know what? They were a birthday gift to me. They were a birthday gift. Listen, I've gotten some cool movies for birthday gifts. I've gotten the Lord of the Rings set. Another one of my friends got me a box set of all of Bruce Lee's movies. I got yet to break them out, y'all. I grew up on Kung Fu movies. If you were a child of the 70s and 80s, y'all remember on Saturday after the cartoons went off, Black Belt Theater came on and they were doing karate and stuff like that. So thank you for that compliment, lady. I just wrote down and took notes as they came to me. But this present conflict in the Middle East, and now I don't have a problem calling it the Middle East because now I know what it is. It's the eastern part of Middle Earth. It's the eastern part of Middle Earth. Mediterranean equals Middle Earthian. Middle, Terra, Earth. Mediterranean Sea is literally the sea that is in the middle of Middle Earth. I love y'all, man. I'm going to get off of here. Listen, thank you for watching. If you haven't done so already, please bless me with a like on this video. And if you're new to the channel and you like the variety of topics I cover, please hit that subscribe button. I'll end this one like I end them all, family. Tell somebody you love them and mean it. And let me just thank y'all again. I've held y'all for 2 hours and 20 minutes. I did not mean to keep y'all this long. Sometimes I just go on autopilot, y'all, and whatever comes out, comes out. And I appreciate the fact that y'all have stayed with me when y'all could have been doing any number of different programs y'all could have been watching tonight. And y'all decided to spend 2 hours of your time with me. I do not take that lightly. I do not. So I thank y'all from the bottom of my fourth chakra, okay? I thank y'all from the bottom of my fourth chakra. I love each and every one of you, especially my regulars who are always here supporting me with your love and your energy. I love you guys so much. Tell somebody you love them and mean it. How do you mean it? You have to show it. What do I always say? Love is a verb, right? It's a noun as well. It's a state of being. But when we focus on the verb form of love, the noun takes care of itself automatically. It's built in. I love y'all, family. Peace.